We are going to use a selection of graded washes building up in stages. The first stage is the red pinky tones across the horizons. And we're going to use, you can either actually use a translucent wash of alizarin, or you can, if you want it a little bit warmer, you can put in cadmium red mix or some orange with it if you want. There are so many different tones and colours that you can actually use. What I am first of all doing is that I've got my watercolour pad at a slight angle so that the water runs down. This is on an A5, so it's not huge. And I'm taking a big brush and I'm wetting all the paper. Then I'm taking a bit of alizarin here on the plate and adding water so it's quite diluted. Filling up the brush and then just sweeping across, and you can go off the edge of the page. If you want to, you could add a little bit of raw sienna as well, just as a little bit of orange. Clean the brush and then overlap as you're going down, so it fades into the white. So you've got stronger colour here, and then it's fading away. And this is what's called a graded wash. And actually, a little tip, which I haven't done here, but actually I tell my students to do, is that if you've got this in the middle of a pad, you can have, what is best is to have a little frame about it, so you can bring this across out of the picture. So any blobbing or beading comes straight out of it. And don't forget that the watercolour fades by 50%, so don't worry about any sort of different marks or whatever else. And also, because it's sky and sea, you want to have those lovely beautiful tones. So we're going to leave that to dry, and naturally keep it at the angle. And then if you've got any beading as well, you can take the tissue and take that off, because you don't want any beading running back into the wash, otherwise it'll cause marks. And I'm going to leave that, and then I'll come back and do the add the blues. Now this is completely dry, we're going to put on the second graded wash, but instead of starting from the middle, because we want obviously to leave that lovely soft glow over the horizon, we're going to start from the top and work down to the horizon. Just plain water. And then we're going to take some ultramarine, and you're going to put 2 thick overlapping strokes across. Clean the brush and then keep going down. Sorry, I think I just put 3 washes strokes, didn't I? That was silly. I should have gone over the side. Never mind. Can you see that? And then what you're going to do is you're going to dry. Now I'm going to be naughty and not actually wait for it to dry. But then you're going to wait for it to dry once you've done that. And you're going to do exactly the same on this bottom part. So a graded wash is when you have a stronger colour at the top or wherever, and it fades, just fades away. So I would just do one stroke here. Wow. And keep going down. Now, if you get beading, can you see that beading on the side? Lean it away. Take your tissue and just lightly skim across the side so you're catching it like that. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the hairdryer and I'm going to dry it, and then we're going to put in the landmass. I'm going to, now that this is completely dry, I'm going to take the Chinese brush and I am going to draw in this landmass silhouette. What I'm going to do is, oh sorry, that's got colour on it, with some just clear water, just fill up that landmass roughly, and then drop that ultramarine blue in. And actually what you will notice is that wherever you put the water, that is the only place that the paint will go. Then I would take a rigger brush, long thin brush, just to put in the pier. My hand's not that steady, so I'm using artistic license here. And then with the legs holding it up, you just want to roughly put that in just to give an impression here. And leave it like that. And then take a smaller brush. So either you can leave it like that with just that hard line underneath. What I like to do is soften, dampen the brush and just drag underneath. So it just softens it just a little bit. And then with the same brush, what you're going to do is use that same dark tone, and we're going to put some ripples in a triangular diagonal lines. Slightly wavy, and some broken lines. So broken lines means that it's a little bit thicker here and thinner, thicker, and you do that by putting more pressure on the brush and then lifting up. More pressure for thicker and lifting up. More pressure. And then this is wider here and it's going thinner to the right, so it looks like it's going away. So we've got a thicker line here, more pressure, thinner, more pressure, lift it up using the point of the brush. And then as you're going away, and that's going thinner. Can you see that? Dampen the brush again, and you can soften some of those lines if you want. And if you want to put a little bit of, because this lighthouse boat has actually got a red roof, so you can either leave it like that and leave it to the imagination, or if you wanted to, you can put a very light red roof on it as well. Now, there you have a simple watercolor painting, which I particularly love, of the Mumbles head. And you can leave it like that. That is, I have painted loads of watercolor paintings of this scene, just using these few colors and leaving it like that, because that is what it looks like in the beautiful, calm evening glow. But we're going to use some artistic license and take it a little bit further if you want to have some fun. And who doesn't want to have some fun? So I'm going to leave this to dry, and then I'm going to mix some darker purples, and we are going to make it into a moonlit sky. So this is a sort of, think of Monet and where he painted the haystacks and all those different lights. Do you remember that? Or have a look at that up, and you will see that a different artist looks at the same spot but in different lights. So we're going to be doing that today. So this is one finished picture, so you can either start again or you can go on, carry on with this one. So you've got the purple, a darker purple going underneath these ripples in broken lines. So some of them are thick, some of them are thin. So what you can do is take a thin brush, small brush, this is a Sable Kolinsky round 6, and then press down for a thick line and then up, then down, up, but uneven. And then as you're going off, it comes closer to. So down, thick, up, down, up. And then if you want to soften those, you can dampen the brush and underneath. Because when you look at waves and ripples, there's a hard line on one side and it goes softer underneath as well. And also, if you want us to try and put a little bit more variation here, you can mix some darker purple, some thicker purple, and just dab on a damp background. Don't have to do too much, just to make that lighthouse come out. And I would leave it like that. You can soften some of that again, and then just let that fade off. And then what you're going to do is get some clean water and we'll go onto the moon. We're going to do the trickiest part of the picture first, and that is the beam coming out of the lighthouse. Now, just to say, you don't have to do this. It's if you feel a bit nervous about it. Also, you could use white pen or white ink or whatever. So I've got a rigger brush, loaded it up with white gouache. I have taken the ruler and I'm holding it up a little bit away, so I'm literally using this as a guide. The reason why is if I paint along here, inevitably it will smudge. So wish me luck. So my plan is just to draw in a sort of a very thin triangular line. Can you see that? So you've got two lines on each side to give you guidance. and then you're going to fill it in. As I said, you don't have to do this, but just a little bit of fun. What I would do is clean the brush, because actually the lightest part of it will be closest to where the light comes out of, and then it'll, if you've ever seen a lighthouse, it sort of fades away. The beauty with the gouache is it's quite movable. It's not set either. So I'm quite happy with that. And then what you're going to do is just lost my brush. Put in the moon. So I've got this beam coming out here. For composition, I'm going to put the moon up here. Don't put it straight above the lighthouse. Just actually keep it, you want a balance of it. So that you do this sort of thing with clouds as well. Just do a little moon here. Don't fill it up all together. Clean the brush, wipe off the excess, and then just fill that up like that. And then, really exciting. Now, before you do this, if you're not in a studio and you have things around, be careful about splattering anybody or anything that you don't want splattered, because you really don't want to have anything covered in white spots. So what I would do is I would cover that, because you don't want anything going on here either. Move anything out of the way, and then load up this quite thickly. Don't make it too watery. And also practice. So we're going to have a little practice on here. Obviously not watery enough. And what's going on here? Oh, here we go. Eventually coming. And this is why it says practice makes perfect. So, have a tissue at the ready, and then so you can do some quite strong flicks and some lighter flicks. And also, you don't want them all over the sky in one uniform sort of cluster. You want different clusters. See if that looks all right. I think that looks okay. I'm just going to put a few down here. As well. And then last but not least, don't forget the reflection of the moon. So take your little rigger brush, just do a little few scratches here, and then you can put a few bits on the surf as if it's catching the waves as well. And then you can dampen the brush and soften those edges so it fades off, so you don't want it to look too blocky. It's quite a nice thing to play with, the gouache. And if you want some lights in the town, because Mumbles town is village should I say, is right here, you can just do a little few lights on to give people the impression that there is a village there, which there is. And also you can have a few bright, just, I wouldn't put too many red, just one or two. And I wouldn't, because I've made them small sort of, but you don't necessarily have to have the reflection. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that. And there you have a moonlit sky. So you've got two pictures in one. So do have a go and experiment. And please, please do post, because I'd love to see your work. Any questions or comments, please just ask. So it started off like this. And then we went on to the first one, which was, and then we took it, went into the night. Enjoy.